Bloody hell, mate. Isn't the world one giant clusterfuck right now? It's unmanageable. Everywhere I turn, it's hopeless. The world's top diplomat, the UN Secretary General, issued a code red for humanity and stated in plain English that climate change was an existential threat to humanity. Followed up by the leader of the free world also indicating, okay, all of the governments got together and in 2018 wrote in a scientific peer-reviewed paper called the IPCC, which means it's being read, was read over by thousands of scientists scanning through tens of thousands of documents, stated that climate change was abrupt and irreversible in relation to human timescales. And I'm just repeating this again because no matter what our mind delusions are, we just can't seem to grasp this. We can't seem to understand plain English now. Like there always has to be some ulterior motive, or it's actually being sanctified by funded by a clandestine group of Illuminati who are planning all of this so that they can seize power. Man, just any number of confabulated ways you can think about a predicament. That you can drop a blueberry pie. How many ways can it crumble? And that's the human mind, just completely dysregulated. Cannot get it together. And so I just got off this live stream, and I'm not going to fall for the straw man fallacy either, where you place me as the crux of the problem rather than not focusing on the actual problem itself. You know, like what am I doing to help contribute to it? And I just want to be clear. I want to be clear that it's hopeless. It's a done deal. We aren't sucking carbon out. It's basic science. If you spend even just a few weeks or months digesting this information, what climate change really entails, and the knockoff effects on our habitat, then, like most of my subscribers, you get it. Whether or not life recuperates after tens of millions, hundreds of millions of years from now, that's speculation. To even say it would be sentient or complex life, it's speculation. So what am I doing? Am I validating myself? No. I'm just stating the plain, clear evidence, the plain, clear truth that we've crossed the point of no return. We aren't doing anything to reverse or mitigate the negative effects on human life. It's amazing. It's amazing how much our mental distortions really work on scientific evidence and data now. I mean, and some people get it. And then I don't even know what the real set of qualities. I certainly think intelligence has part to do with it. And even people who are skeptical of it, of what climate change entails to the human race, they admit it's a problem, but they hold on to this fantasy that we're going to be okay, that it'll work out. And that's a mixture of a couple things. Certainly a product of your time. If you grew up on the upswing, a product of the 70s or 80s, you've seen nothing but human ingenuity and growth and all the things that perpetuate our life. But if you're born on the decline, which is nothing but my generation and younger has seen, you're more perceptive to information that is vilifying or negative overall. And I don't mean that in a morality sense, just it's really bad for everybody. And so part of this is me explaining my journey to acceptance. And when I display anger or not so much depression anymore, I've already been through that phase. It's more of a show, just like some other channels do. It's more theatrics. I'm not really wound up as much as it seems like I am. I'm really not. I'm very calm about the whole issue. I'm done with trying to persuade people of basic science, the argument is settled. If you ask most people who even remotely understand this information and the fact that we are 90 seconds to midnight, that climate change is a threat multiplier, that it's going to cause more problems in more areas, even unrelated to the actual temperature change. Actually, it's all related. It's all nature. They'll tell you up front that it's slim to zero chance that we pull together. I mean, we aren't. Again, we aren't reducing emissions, which emissions are a main driver of radiative forcing, which is ultimately warming the planet. We're trapping ourselves in blankets of heat. And the aerosol masking effect is cooling us by at least maybe around a half a degree to a degree. And so, yeah, the small doomosphere, people who understand it's inevitable that humans cannot change course, that we are in the process of annihilating all life on Earth. Some would say that's a doomer. It's also maybe a realist. Again, you ask anyone with the hindsight of this information who's actually done the work, not to mention, world leaders that are coming out and straight up saying this, they'll tell you it's a done deal. The wolf is already in the house. We had our warnings long time ago. And indeed, we discovered hydrocarbons, fossil fuels, in the 19th century, at the turn of the century, and then that set us up for our inevitable demise. We could not relinquish the power that it gave us. We could not exercise restraint. That is the human nature. You can throw in some biblical references in here. I just say common sense. Humans cannot resist our most instinctual desires. We are hardwired to crave and lust after things that especially give us power, drive our ego, among other things, and grant us a magical, fantastical lifestyle where we can transport images and sound across time and space. What a wonderful, fantastical world we live in and inhabit, which we've manufactured for ourselves. So no one is in control. Not you, not me, not Biden, not the UN Secretary General, or Putin, or Xi, or nobody. Nobody's in control. We are fossil fuel addicted, and we aren't sucking carbon out. We're not doing any of the game plan required for us to save ourselves. We're not even trying. And I am going to revert back and stick to my sentiment that if you had a child in the past few years, you are knowingly or unknowingly a monster. I would lean more towards unknowingly, sadly. But the reason I use the word monster is because our leading scientific institutions issued us a clear and distinct warning for decades, but it all really came to a head in 2020, and I would say with the Code Red for Humanity IPCC report, that was our most definitive warning. And it was on mainstream news. It's not like you're just not a good steward, not a good human of the planet if you didn't pay attention to what the health of your home is. You're just not a good steward of the planet. Humans don't deserve this planet. So my other point is all these arguments about veganism and LGBTQ and, oh my God, AI, all this is superfluous. It's chatter, white noise, compared to the fact that our habitable ambient temperature will not support human and, in fact, all life on Earth within the next decade or two. We will inhabit a planet which we've never presided on and which our civilization was not built on. It was built for the stable ambient temperature and setting that we had in the Holocene. My job is not to convince anymore. It's not to instill hopium, or the science is there. It's evident. We've been issued the warning. You can't say that you didn't know. You can't say that you did not hear about it.